I was telling a family friend of ours about swing trading and why it's not really meant for me, even though I think the patterns are easy to recognize if you just have that mentality or you used to follow the news a lot and you kind of expect things to happen, and when they come in, the swing trade is there. The issue with it is twofold. One fold is that it takes a lot of money to make money or a lot of risk. So it's either you have a lot of money already, which nobody does with swing trades. And the other thing is that you could leverage it up. You can do a 10x leverage on something and buy, let's say, gold or silver with leverage, and then do this swing trade and give it back. The problem is that is way too risky. So if you, let's say, buy 10K worth of gold, and with that leverage, it's 100K, right? As soon as you got something wrong and you got a 10% downturn, your original 10K goes to zero. Basically, you get a margin call. So you could do that, or you have your initial money, and then you can just stick with a trade or just invest long term. And I have some money like that stuck from probably where silver was like 34, where I bought it and never sold. So I guess it's gonna, not this time 34, but before 34. And that's not a problem. So I did get burned while swing trading. I did that roughly about 14 years ago. And I got burned pretty bad. Luckily, I was still in the positive after a very, very long time still. However, it made me realize it's not really for me, and it's not because it's either too risky or I could actually make more money doing something more productive. So then kind of my career took off, and after so much experience, I opened my own businesses, right? And I just felt that, oh, why am I not doing swing trading anymore with these global calamities, or Trump in office and Trump outside of office, whatever. And the thing is that it doesn't really add anything productive to society. Now, I would still do it probably if I could, if I would have a lot of, I guess, money to burn, but I don't, because I'm building businesses. So with that said, why even listen to the news? The way I see it, the news is just there for us to direct our attention to something, right? And I always felt this. I think this is probably inheritance. I inherited this trait from my father or grandfather, where they inherently don't trust the news. Now, granted, they lived most of their lives under communism, especially my father. However, I think I just have that trait. Now, with that said, I could still deduct something based on what they want me to know or what they want to tell me. However, if I'm not putting that to good use, in the sense of I'm not doing any trades on it or doing anything like that, and I don't really want to talk about bad stuff happening because you just manifest more and more of it into your life, then really what's the point? So I'm currently on a news fast, which will end, or supposed to end, roughly in 2 weeks. And that will be kind of past 40 days now, I would say. And when I found this great new energy and creativity to do something else and work on other things that I thought that I would not have the energy to do that, right? And now I do. And it all started with me fasting from news and news outlets. So now that doesn't mean that news doesn't get to me. I'm just not seeking it out. I just let God or universe, whatever you want to call it, I call it God, provide the news that I really need to know about to reach me. And sometimes that's a big storm, and I just know, like, 2 hours before it, because I turn off most of the notifications, right? And I'm kind of in the zone working and building a new company. So why would I be interested in that? The thing is, you gotta have a lifestyle where your lifestyle revolves around security, in the sense of, whatever may come, you're kind of already prepared for that to some degree. If nothing else, then at least mentally and physically, right? So once you have that lifestyle, once you have that mentality, once you have all of that worked out, it really doesn't benefit you to get worried about every single event that happens. And because attention is your currency, your attention is how you pay those who control the news, those who control the media, those who we don't talk about, right? So why would you give your precious attention, your precious time, God-given time to you that you own, to them, instead of giving that time to something to build or spending it with your family? So with that said, I think I'm going to continue this fast beyond the 2 weeks, because I just feel that I got more done in the last 2 months than probably the last, I would say, 4 years of my life, when it comes to building myself and acquiring new habits and building something that would, outlast me, hopefully, and just spending more time with the family. So with that said, I feel that that is the direction I need to go forward, because that is where I can give more value to you guys. If I keep talking about the changes in my life, the changes that I'm manifesting in my life, the habits that I'm taking on. Now, that doesn't mean that, the news that does get to me, I don't have an opinion about that. I do. But I'm not seeking out the next new happening, the next new thing. And guess what? I didn't miss anything, or at least I don't feel like I missed anything. So instead of that, I might talk about the books that I have read, that I made time to read now, right? Or the general life philosophies that I've acquired throughout the years, or my, I guess, somewhat unique approach to individual life situations. And I think probably answering more questions or having more live videos or something like that. I don't necessarily care too much about the day-to-day price of gold or day-to-day price of any equity, I just gonna know that the system I have set up for myself is gonna bring me through the next couple of years anyway, and anyhow, whatever happens. So the plan is out there, for us who don't necessarily control the fortune of a small European country. For us, I think just acquiring and holding actual value, right, is probably the best way to go and move forward. But with that said, there's so many other things that we can build individually, right, and so much we can learn from each other. Just thinking about the thought patterns that I've been trying to eradicate from my own, I guess, mental map, right? Growing up in Romania, and I would say what would now be considered extreme poverty, I would consider that my childhood, happy childhood, right? But then there are some patterns. I was talking about this with another friend of mine, how we used to save plastic, right? There's like, my mom used to put away plastic spoons because that was such a big thing for us. Like, we didn't have plastic spoons. You don't necessarily know. I feel, especially in Western Europe, or you grew up in the United States or the Western Hemisphere, then you don't necessarily know what some other people go through in their lives. And that's a good thing, I would say. But just to give you perspective, there are so many patterns of things that I need to get rid of to get to the place where I am right now, I'm still working on it. I went through probably a 2 week long decluttering frenzy, and I'm still going through it. And it was interesting how I would have the habit of a person who went through the Great Depression, where I would save individual screws and just not wanting to get rid of stuff. And I think generally being resourceful is not a bad thing. However, there's a limit, right? Where if you're unorganized and if you're just like keeping stuff for the sake of keeping stuff, that is all weighing on your subconscious, and everything is just kind of laid there. And now you may be not even knowing about these things. You kind of forgot about them, but your subconscious is burdened by all the physical clutter and spiritual clutter in your mind. So working through that physically, right? In the rooms, in the garage, and everywhere where I stored stuff. Just weird stuff like calibers that I don't even shoot anymore or stuff like that. I was just there. Everything was just in my subconscious, and getting rid of stuff really accelerates the spiritual, I guess, moving forward, because then you kind of like old memories come up, right? This was looking at some pictures or some items that I like carried with me for a while. Why did I do that? What was I afraid of? What did I love back then, right? It just tears up those nice little memories. And it prompted me to let go a bunch of things that are no longer useful for me, as in patterns, as in memories. And it was really good. It was like a cleansing. And lo and behold, you start losing weight physically, because those extra pounds that you kept on for security, that was just really there as almost like a memory on your body. And once you start cleaning out physically, mentally, spiritually, everything starts to roll, and you find yourself in this new body, in the spirit of Janus, I guess I would say, the Roman god of Reformation, and becoming a new person. You got to reinvent yourself. And I think we do have to reinvent ourselves every 4 years or so. So I think talking about something like that or experiences like this would be much more useful than taking a look at stuff now. As in taking a look at the news constantly. There's a really good book, especially if you're starting a business, or if you're like in the sense of like growing a business. The book is called 10x is easier than 2x. And so it's 10x easier than 2x. And that has a really good sentence in there. I'm going to paraphrase that. Your past has to justify its existence. So in the sense that your future is going to be limited if you're constantly building on your past. If you're only building on your past experiences, that is going to give you safety, but it will not let you propel forward on new things and new endeavors, because you have this baggage of experience, which may be good or bad. Now, you have to go through that baggage and let every experience, let every memory justify itself, how it's going to serve you in the future. And if it doesn't serve you, you need to let it go, because instead of that, what you should be looking forward to is your future magnetically pulling in. You pull your future thoughts, your thoughts about the future, your thoughts about what you're going to do next. That has to be so attractive to you that it literally needs to pull your present into the future, so you become this new person, so you can grow and you can experience new stuff, and that will give you energy. I now wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning with more energy than I used to have when I woke up at 8 a.m. because I'm excited every day on the stuff that I'm working on. And there's energy in there, and you can fuel that, and you can use that energy to fuel yourself and fight back the global world, or the world order that is trying to, diminish life at this point on this planet, if we're even live on a planet, right? So you can use that energy to do positive stuff around you, around your neighborhood, friends and family, or just in the world. And that focus, that energy, if that is dissipated on the news or price movements or anything else that you really don't have control over, then that is exactly what they want. That is how you lose, because you're going to have a life wasted on things that you never could control. So instead of that, taking back control and focusing, laser focusing your attention on one single task until it's done. And then you go to the next one, and that's done, and that's done, and so on. You get to have this long done to-do list of great things that you achieved in 2 months that you would not even believe. And that is the path I have been on. And I'm going to work somehow YouTube back into that path. But for now, I needed this experience where I could focus on, like a hermit, I could focus on the path that I was on. And I feel like now I can come back and share some experiences regarding, the future self, your future image, pulling your present into the path that you want to go. There's another good, I guess, thing or idea in that book where, and I'm gonna link the book, Amazon link, probably under the video. 10x is easier than 2x, and in there is an idea that thinking outside of the box, right? Because if I would say that you need to 2x your income, then you would think about, okay, how can I work harder on the stuff that I'm working on? This is my income now. This is how many clients I have. I need to get more clients. I need to do more services with these clients. I need to increase this, increase that. There's a logical way how you can describe point by point, and working on your existing knowledge about the past, working on that, you will realize that, okay, if I do just this one more thing, this many times a day, this many times a week, I'm gonna get there, right? And that's hard. That's hard because you're coming out of experience that what you worked on. Where if I would just say 10x the income you have, or 10x the time that you spend with your children, you would start recognizing that working from a point in the past or your past experiences will no longer work. That means that you need to bring in new stuff, right? Bring in new ideas. Maybe you just need to completely quit the field that you're in, because that is, you're unable to grow there and learn something new, right? So if I say 10x something, 10x your income, 10x your whatever, your time that you spend with your family, right? 10x the workout routines you have, whatever, you would need to know that you would come to the conclusion that there's something major that needs to happen. And that freshness, that you're just gonna leave the box where it is and you're gonna think outside of the box. And turns out your ego, your mental capabilities will be enough to solve that problem as well, because your mind, with the help of God, can solve anything, right? You will be guided on a new path where you will be able to solve anything. It's just, what is the problem? What is the problem that you put your mind to solve? If it's a 2x problem, it will solve that. If it's a 10x problem, it will solve that, no problem. So why not be bold? Why not be ambitious and solve bigger problems and make a change in the world and make a change in your life and your immediate family? And with that comes a great, great baggage or package of energy. It's just this big fuel cell of working on something new. that you did not know that you're capable of. And the universe, let me tell you this, and this is again a paraphrase from somewhere, but the universe takes back matter where there's no energy. So people start to get old when they're no longer excited about the stuff that they work on every day. People start to get, tired and sick when they don't have no energy to do something that they like, right? And it's really a choice. The universe takes back the material where there's no energy. So it wants to recycle you if you have no energy. So your first goal for probably the next 2 months, I would say, should be to get excited about something, working on something, and waking up and feel excited about that and bring that energy back into your life, because that is the game changer. That is the potential that they don't want you to know about. Once you have that, and once you have a goal set, and with some guidance from above, you're going to be doing amazing things in this year of the snake, I would say. All right, well, that's all I wanted to say. But with that said, I think gold is going to 5,000 and silver will probably double from here in the next year. That's just a guess, not the financial advice. So I would say keep on accumulating in your offshore accounts as much as possible. However, it's nothing compared to what you're capable of and what you should be doing next with your life. And I'll check in with you next time.